Life doesn't come with a grading rubric.
Unmarked is an open conversation between two international teachers meddling through their life, love, and purpose far from home.
No edits,
No filters.
this is Unmarked.
Hi friends, welcome back to Unmarked, episode 5.
Yeah, in line with our previous topic, the day in the life, we thought it was fitting to continue with the topic of burnout.
Because that's how we right now feeling, I think. It's almost the end of year.
And it's report card season.
The weather gets colder and colder. I think everyone, no matter if you are a teacher or not, everyone faces burnout. And I think it's important when we talk about what it is like for a teacher burnout, right? So that's what we're gonna do in our marked section.
Yeah. And in Unmarked, we will be looking at burnout in general.
Correct.
As well as some self-care ideas.
How would you define burnout?
This. So I've decided to dress the part. So it's all gray for me today. And then I guess Nika went the opposite way.
I told Carol that it's more like I'm dead inside. It's fake it till you make it. I'm gonna pull all my bright clothes that I have to pretend I'm fine.
Yeah, well, there is some truth in it. On days where I do feel horrible, I tend to dress myself in colors.
It does help a little bit.
And then on days where I feel good, I would dress in black. I think I would like to preface it by saying that as a psychology student, there is a difference between clinical burnout and the word that we throw around. Because when it's clinical, you really do have to seek help. But if we're talking about stress in general, we do like to use the word burnout. And I think it's overused nowadays.
Yeah, unfortunately. I feel like it's the same as people learn those psychological terms from therapy and then they just throw. Yeah. These are big words. So we have to be careful. Oh my God, gaslighting.
It's everywhere. Well, know that when we refer to burnout, we do mean like stress, but also on the more serious side of it sometimes.
Correct.
But we are in no way diagnosing.
Absolutely. Yeah. What is teaching burnout? I feel 2 times in academic year when I am at my lowest as a teacher. So it's when I don't have energy. It's basically come, do the work, go home, repeat, like that. And usually it happens this period, November, beginning of December, and then it happens in April, just before spring break, when we have the longest terms. And the amount of pressure you have with assessment, it's also having some conclusions made by the end of the year. So altogether, I feel like sometimes I just need to pause.
Yeah, and I guess for some families, they would also have to prep for Christmas, and that's when things go crazy.
As teachers, we do have deadlines.
Yeah. I mean, timelines, and every job does have them, but it's like this extra stress, extra workload during the season, because on top of lesson planning, we would have to deal with the marking of papers, data entry, and
just generally showing up for kids, listening to what they talk about.
Because this season is also when they start to go cray-cray. Everyone's in this festive mode.
Yeah, they go bananas. It's so hard to control them and they are getting too excited. I feel like right now, I know it's not Christmas mode yet, but I feel like Grinch a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah, she laughed at my idea because I wanted my students to cut out snowflakes for my windows, and then she had to laugh at it.
Because last time they did their spider webs for Halloween, which is basically the same idea, cutting the paper. I'm sorry, I have to say that it was so ugly.
But it was so nice. Yeah. It was colorful.
It's about,
and my door was purple and orange and black and yellow.
What are the signs of burnout as a teacher?
For me, it's when I wake up and I feel nervous and anxious before I go to school. And that's when I know that, oops, things are starting to get bad. because I should be feeling excited in the morning to go to work. But once I step through the doors, everything falls into place. It's just the anxiety in the morning when you wake up and you think, oh my goodness, I have so many to-dos on my list that you just can't bring yourself to think, how am I going to go through this day? Yeah, that's when I know things are tough.
Yeah, for me, it's when I was younger, I didn't quite know how to manage my emotions when it's this period. So I remember I was actually at my lowest when I had panic attacks. I would be very professional at work, but then I would come back home, shut the door, and basically start panicking, and I would end up in a panic attack. And first it started very light, very gentle. I would just have anxiety, and then I would have some tears like, oh, I'm so tired, I don't have enough time, I should have done that, I'm such a bad teacher, I should have said that. So it's always like this judging kind of thing. And then the worst panic attack I've ever had was when I lost my speech. I could not speak at all, could not say a word. And I got so scared. It was Sunday, like this, scary Sunday that everyone is talking about. I'm preparing for my week, and I remember my mom asks me something like, oh, do you want to do that on Monday evening, like shopping or something? And I realized that I don't have time.
Yeah.
And I start crying. And my panic attacks always start when I start crying. So I start crying, and then my mom is like, oh, why are you crying? Why? And then at this moment, it's so important not to pamper me. Because once I feel that, I'm getting weaker, and I get anxiety. And then I can't breathe normally. I start suffocating. And then at that moment, my memory shuts down. My brain, I don't understand what is happening. It was 40 minutes. My mom was trying to kind of bring me back to life, so to say. And then at some point, it was okay. I was laying on the bed, and she's trying to talk to me. And I realized I opened my mouth, but I can't say anything.
Did you seek professional help? Because that sounds like something
Yeah,
that you really...
I was doing therapy during that time. That was one of the reasons why I went into therapy, because it started happening. I had anxiety at work. And we work with kids. We should be very healthy.
Yeah. Strong,
then,
psychologically.
Yeah, so I went to the therapy. I told you about that,
Yes.
right? It was very urgent. Right now, I would say I've learned so much in therapy. I've learned so much how to handle that.
They teach you coping strategies?
Yep, yeah.
And do they work for you?
Right now, yes.
Okay.
But unfortunately, I had to do medication too.
Okay.
At that period, because it was already too
Severe.
strong. That's why when I teach students who struggle regulate their emotions, I know what it can lead to. So I try to tell them how to manage that based on when you have anxiety, look at the objects in the room. Okay, 4 objects I can touch, 3 objects I can see, 2 objects I can taste, 1 object I can smell. It's so funny that we teach them how to regulate their emotions, and we don't know how to regulate our emotions during burnout.
Yeah. For me, it's just been periods of extreme stress. It's nothing clinical. I think it was last year. The worst day I had was when I just broke out crying after school. And for me to cry, that has to be very serious. And I cried over the most ridiculous thing ever, which was our display boards. I was in charge of 2 display boards, one for science, one for IPC. And I placed everything up. There was a deadline. But then our shared teaching assistant, well, I don't blame her now, looking back. She took everything down, thinking that it was the old one.
Oh my.
So then when my middle leader came to check on me and said hey, your display boards have to be up. I'm like, what do you mean? It's been up. And then she said, no, it's not. It's empty. I just cried. Like, what is this? Because I have placed it up and I have 2 display boards. How am I gonna do it? It was a Friday evening already. And I remember, like, she didn't know what to do and she just hugged me and it helped. She ended up helping me over the weekend. She went back to school and fixed everything back up because I think she knew at that point of time that I was just lost, like a lost case. Yeah. It was near the time where I decided it was time to leave my previous school. But everything just added up. The daily field duties, display boards that were taken down, the workload of just planning, everything just seemed too much.
Yes, I know. I feel the same. For me, it was when you start crying at work, time to go.
Yeah.
That's the sign you're not doing fine.
Yeah. I think at that point, definitely not.
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep
Yeah.
as well. I would go to bed thinking about next day's lessons. I'm like, okay, how do we do this dinosaur egg? For the most ridiculous reasons. Because at one point, I had 60 to 80 dinosaur eggs that were this size in my class, and I had to figure out how to sort of manage that because it's 3 classes worth of art project.
I feel like sometimes it's so important to release the emotions and have someone to talk to, because what happens is that then it's just piling up all of those things, and then when something little happens like that, you just burst. And then luckily you would have someone next to you, but imagine if there are kids, or imagine if there is no one. Like in my case, that could be panic attack, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's so important to have, if not your work bestie, but at least like someone at your work that you can trust and you can talk. Yeah?
That you can vent to.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. When I can't sleep, that's when I know that things are difficult. I had the same issue when I was in university. And that was when I went to the university's counselor and seeked help. But yeah.
But it's interesting. I mean, don't get me wrong. Your major is psychology.
Yeah.
And you, as a psychology student, you kind of understand what is happening to you.
Yeah.
But you still have those problems.
Yeah. But I guess one benefit of it is that you learn to recognize the signs earlier, which is good, because then you can seek help when you need.
That's true.
Yeah.
Do you get frustration that later leads to burnout when you don't see results in your students?
Okay, so this is a little bit of an interesting take, because when I was reflecting back on my whole teaching experience, for me, what brings me the sense of fulfillment is when I plan something that I know is going to work well, and then I test it out in the classroom, right? The lesson plans. And when I see that working well, that gives me the fulfillment. But it's not really the outcome of the student. Well, this is going to sound bad, but I understand that some students will progress with your facilitation, but some students will not. It really depends on what brings you satisfaction. If you place too much emphasis on something that you can't control, like student outcome, it will bring you so much stress. But if you focus on something that you can control, so for me, in my case, lesson prep. If I know that this lesson is going to be a good one, or when I know that, okay, I was so intentional about all of these activities, that itself brings me enough satisfaction. I would go to school and I am super excited to try out that lesson. That keeps me going.
For me, it's opposite actually.
Yeah.
When I have to plan the lesson, I start overthinking about everything, every single little detail that could go wrong in the class. And I'm a bit pessimistic in that. But again, I look at that from the perspective like I need to have all the scenarios prepared. Let's say we do multiplication, 2 digits by 1 digit. And I need to keep in mind one scenario in case students don't know multiplication grid right now. So in that case, it gives me a little bit of overthinking that obviously not too healthy, but yeah, it's different. I get satisfaction when I teach. Those little moments when you see it clicks, they're like their looks, or they're like me, you know, these moments, those little things, and I see and I feel like, okay, I'm doing the right thing now.
Would it be too proud if I said that when I lesson plan, I run through the entire lesson in my head and I know already that it's going to be okay, that they are going to have that aha moment?
I think it's just a very nice trait, to be honest, and I don't think a lot of people are capable to do so. But also, do you do this like every time?
Yeah. So if you see my lesson plans, I run through it like, in my head, so that I'm very clear as to what would happen in the classroom, how I want to group them, what might happen, and I'm trying to think, how do the students think when they are doing this activity?
Okay.
Yeah, so that I'm able to facilitate, and I know that I will be able to bring them to that aha moment.
Okay, but here is my take. Don't you think that it's a good thing to do? I do that sometimes. I have my notes. I would go through the notes. I have bullet points. But I feel like sometimes it might lead you to overthinking too much. That leads then to burnout.
But I guess it is something that I can control.
Okay.
As long as I know that I have sufficiently thought through the plan, then I'm happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that works then.
And then the day can just go down the drain. If my students really don't get the aha moment, I would just look back and see, what did I miss out? I don't blame it. I'm just trying to fix it. And in general, I think I'm like that. Remember with our field trip? Yeah, so we had to postpone our field trip that was pre-planned because it clashes with the Mongolian festival week. And when the admin staff came to me and basically we have to change the date, I just thought, okay, when shall we change the date?
Yeah, so your brain was in a bit practical mode instead of
fixing.
wallow and complain that I did. I started like angry.
Yeah, because it's a lot of things to be worried about.
True.
You know, the permission letters have been sent out.
Permission slips and then lesson planning, all of the details. But yeah, that's understandable.
But when I cannot fix something, then it drives me nuts.
Yeah. Have you ever had moments in your teaching career when you were tired and you started questioning yourself whether I'm tired of teaching or whether I'm tired of anything around me?
Just life?
Yeah.
I think so. And it happened this year, around the time of my birthday. That was when I started just questioning everything. At those moments of time, that's when I know I have to hermit myself, hide at home and actually journal or write something. And that helps me.
For me, I had those moments when I would say, I think I don't want to be teaching anymore. When I have troubles with students. When I see some problems that they experience and I cannot help them, or when they have difficult behavior, you always keep this idea in your head that you are an adult in the room and no matter what happens, it's your job to manage that. But sometimes I cannot, because there are limits. So let's say the last time when student had panic attack in my class and he was trying to scratch me, I was trying to stop him and he started to bite me. I mean, it sounds funny, but in reality it was not funny at all. And he was roaring like a dog. And at that moment, I know I'm an adult. I shouldn't take it personally. But when he shouts in my face, I hate you, you know, and I didn't do anything at all. I'm on the opposite side trying to help. I came back home and I sat and I thought, do I want to keep on doing that? Because no one teaches that at university. No one teaches you that as a prep teacher, right? So you just have to be there, be exposed to that, and learn how to deal with that. And it's very important, do not mix the feelings. When you have something like that, those little moments, I used to think previously, oh, I just need to change the school. There are better schools for me, better students. No. It's just that there are no perfect schools. You would have those little moments everywhere. You need to learn how to manage that.
Yeah. And I have two things to say about what you just mentioned. The first is the sense of self-efficacy. Do you know that you have the ability to deal with it and the capacity? Because if you don't, that's when you start stressing out. And secondly, as teachers, there is this concept of cognitive dissonance, whereby what you do should be in line with what you think and your belief system, basically. So if you're a teacher and you expect to go to school to nurture these students, but then in reality you're just drowned in admin work, you're forced into the role of a therapist instead of just a teacher. And then what else? You're also forced into the role of a cleaner, babysitter,
Policeman,
nurse, a nurse too. And all of those things just waters down the meaning and your belief of who and what a teacher should be.
Yeah.
And when that happens, then it erodes that.
Yeah, that's I think it's so important to stay realistic about things, because if you get into this white noise, you lose the initial goal why you started teaching. There is this principal, I think he's American. He got popular in Instagram mainly because he refused from having his own office.
Oh, he rolls around a desk. Okay.
You've seen that too. And he is sometimes filming like very funny skits, but I really like his ideas of what he's trying to promote in education as principle, as management. Because part of situations when we avoid burnout at work as a teacher goes on what kind of admin team you have.
That's true.
And if your principals, head of schools, head of departments are qualified enough and smart enough, like generally, they know what to take out of your plate.
They will know how to prioritize, right? Some things are needed, but what can go? For example, if report cards are the priority, then you wouldn't make Christmas decoration the Tory
or Christmas shows,
strange.
Correct.
You would have a focus for each week.
Yeah.
I think one thing that we have to clarify is that teaching is a little bit different from other jobs because of the emotional toll that it puts on us. When we are teaching, we're absorbing the moods of our students as well as other adults that we work with, and you have to be emotionally present. So I think it was 4 or 5 weeks ago, and that was the roughest patch I had. I even contemplated taking a day off because I almost snapped at a student, and I know that, okay, that is a sign that I should stop myself.
The line.
Yeah, so I ended up taking the evening really lightly, journal, and actually ask myself what matters. I even set it on my phone. I still have it here. A quote. And I just came back from diving at that point of time. So I just wrote, even the sea rests between waves. I am allowed to pause, to breathe, and to begin again when the tide is ready.
Oh, it's very beautiful.
Yeah, so I have it on my phone screen, and I told myself, okay, look, taking a well-being day off would probably not help. So I'm like, all right, let me just take it hour by hour. I will go to school, just try it out for 1 hour. if it doesn't work, I can always go to my admin and request for the half day off or anything. And you know what? It turned out to be a pretty good day. And that's the first time I allowed myself to just take the day easy. And then the next week, I had a student who came in crying because he was so stressed about his Mongolian lesson. And so I was talking to him. I said, are you scared because you didn't do your homework? He said, no, I did the homework. I said, okay, so what are you worried about? I said, well, just being in the class, like, it worries me.
Just the atmosphere.
Yeah, so I said, okay, why not, let's just take it hour by hour. We'll sit in there for 1 hour. I'll come back to you and I'll ask you how you feel. If you still feel like going home, then you go home. Guess what? He had a pretty good day.
Yeah, I think it's a very nice exercise, generally, not just teaching. I think a lot of cases our job can be compared to doctors because
The amount of stress.
the unpredictability. You need to be healthy and strong enough to be ready for anything.
All it takes is one student to decide that punching someone else in the face is a good idea.
Yeah.
Then your day is pretty much ruined.
Yeah.
Or a student who decides that throwing an apple across the table onto someone's head is a good idea.
Yeah.
Or a student thinking that throwing a dead bird on another person's face is appropriate. That happened last year. My colleague and I had a fun time sorting it out.
My goodness.
Yeah.
That bird.
A dead bird.
Oh gosh.
See,
Nah,
the
kids.
choices that you make.
They go wild.
Yeah.
I think we said a lot.
We said quite a lot about how stress presents itself when it comes to teaching. And for the rest of it, take a break and let's meet you again at
Unmarked section. We'll be back. This is Unmarked.
Welcome back to Unmarked. I'm still here with my emotional support pillow.
And I'm still wearing everything bright and light. Anyways, we are back and we are going to be talking about burnout
And stresses in our life.
and how do we deal with that.
Have you experienced any burnout as an expat? Like,
Constantly.
non-related to teaching.
You as an expat, you constantly live in a stress. And I think it is so hard to explain to anyone else. I think people generally who are living in immigration, they struggle with this anxiety in terms of, is my visa okay? Do I still have insurance? My biggest anxiety is if I get sick in a foreign country. And we've been talking about that in one of the episodes, right? This stress that you have to go through when you have to explain what hurts. You don't speak the language, so you can't explain anything.
All your medication would be in a foreign language. I almost drank mouthwash, thinking that it was cough syrup.
She showed me the picture of that, and it looks like cough syrup. But it's when she
It
translated,
smells like cough syrup. It was iodine for mouthwash.
which is not good if you drink it.
Yeah, thank goodness I managed to catch myself and translate it before drinking it.
I also panic a little bit every time I go through immigration. When I land, let's say right now I live in Mongolia, but then I go traveling somewhere and I go back to Mongolia, and every time I go through immigration, I feel a bit of anxiety because, well, I don't know how to explain that. Maybe people who have strong passports would not have this feeling, but me, I have Ukrainian passport, which I have happy to have, but you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I think the Malaysian passport is stronger.
Yeah, definitely. So let's say if I go to Europe, which is visa-free for me, I feel okay because I know I am legally allowed to stay there. But every time I go to other countries, even where I reside right now, I struggle because what if they don't let me stay? What if something happens?
It's okay, I'll pack your stuff for you.
Oh my
I'll
God.
ship it.
That's what you need friends for, to pick your stuff once you're being deported. What struggles do you have as an expat?
I think getting sick in a foreign country is definitely a big one. But just the day-to-day, trying to manage all the little things when you're already stressed out at work, even the little things like doing laundry or needing to clean your apartment seems like a huge task. You just don't have the capacity anymore.
Sometimes even household seems to be very big thing.
Cooking goes away first for me. I haven't cooked actually in 2 weeks, I think.
Wow.
I do just boil noodles, but I don't consider that as cooking. For me would be cooking rice and then a meat dish and a vegetable, like a full meal.
Do you have any tips of how to manage those burnout and anxiety moments when you are an expat?
Having friends help. I'm someone who needs quite a lot of alone time, especially when I feel down. You would probably see me taking a day where I just disappear a little bit. So last Sunday, for example, I was so tempted to switch my phone off. But of course I did not because my family would be worried. But generally just have a day in where I can wake up when I want to. Dealing with adults sometimes.
That's tough for you.
Yes, because I'm trying to control.
What do you say?
Yes, what I say and my face.
It's tough to also do that in the international setting because you don't know how people's gonna react to what you say.
That's true.
And also, last time we had a meeting and I told you like, oh, this one member of our team, I think that he was a bit aggressive the way he was talking to you. And then it's also tough to regulate that because working in a team and an international team, when you all go through burnout,
Yes.
it's so important to watch your mouth.
Yeah, but I actually did not feel that. I did not catch that aggressiveness. I guess I was just busy regulating my own face and what I'm saying.
I remember in my previous school, my principal, at the end of the term, she would send a message saying, please be kind to each other. And before you click on send the email, please make sure you're not rough. Because we would have so many difficult miscommunications going on because of that. You know, you're just being too emotional and you just let it happen and you don't think what the person on the other side of the computer gets.
So let's wind back. That was the toughest point where I really wanted a day off. Now, within that same week, I got into quite a bad miscommunication actually with one of our senior staff. But it was through email and I do learn things from it as well. But it was too much for me. That was the last straw. Because I was struggling with something personal and then with work and then everything was just crumbling. I decided to meet face to face with this staff and to clear things up because there was definitely a huge misunderstanding. When we sat together and actually spoke to each other as just people, then we realized both of us were going through quite a lot in our personal lives.
When you have both work problems and personal mess going on, for me it's such an art to draw a line and deal with issues separately. How do you do it?
When I'm in work, I'm just go for work. And then I don't allow myself to think about my personal stuff until it's after work. That's the most I can do.
Even when something very, very bad happens?
I was lucky enough that it happened during break.
Okay, yes, agree. I think that it's just also where we are right now in our lives, that it is hard to manage personal and work and draw the line, and I'm really happy to hear that you can do that. For me, it is tough. So if I get the messages from home and I constantly get into anxiety mode, overthinking, I need to shut down for a sec.
Yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like, okay, not time for this now. I will deal with that later. But I'm still learning how to do that. It's a massive, massive work for me.
Like, even when my plate was so full, I didn't even trust my own opinion that do I have the right to be stressed? So guess what? I decided to ask ChatGPT if I was right to feel stressed.
Yeah.
But then, of course, the response was that, yeah, it was really a lot on my plate.
ChatGPT is our best friend when it comes to therapy.
It's unhealthy, by the way, to treat ChatGPT as your therapist.
Don't.
But it's just fun.
What are your tips to avoid burnout or prevent burnout?
I would like to think that actually, generally, I'm a pretty resilient person. I'm just letting it go.
What is little thing to you? What is little stuff? How do you define?
I think I've progressed quite a lot. With the field trip thing, for example, having to postpone it, that would have driven me nuts 2 years ago. But then this time around, I'm like, yeah, sure. Okay,
Whatever.
let's change it. And then it was just an email, a couple emails later, done.
You prioritize what to waste your energy for. But with personal stuff,
With personals?
as an expat, when you are burning out, my first idea, I want to give up and go back home. Even though I don't have home anymore. But you know what I'm trying to say? At some point when you're in immigration, you get to this point in your life when everything is just so complicated. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. As an expat, you can't know unless you have the contract, unless you have tickets booked and so on. And that gives me anxiety. And I just need sometimes to slow down. But I have this fear when something goes wrong, I'm scared, I want to give up. I don't care how that's going to look like. I just want to pack my stuff and go back to my mom. How do you manage that?
That is not a choice for me. Because I know that right now, I can't go back to my own country to teach yet.
Okay.
Yeah, because it doesn't support the lifestyle that I want. So it's not an option for me. And over here, I'm in actually a much better state than I was back at home.
Knowing the fact that you can't go back doesn't give you anxiety.
No, because I have summer breaks that I can go home.
Maybe that's different because for me, knowing that I have nothing behind me, it gives me so much stress. Knowing that I have nowhere to go back to, I have nothing here, and probably will not have something in the future right now.
The comfort of knowing that I can visit family during the holidays is enough for me. What do you do to get yourself out of that rut?
Of knowing that I can't go back, or
Stress in general.
what do I do? Interesting. I think I need to wallow.
As in,
Shut down everything. I would not talk to anyone. And I would just watch the coziest movies that would give me child memories. Yeah, like, which is very weird. I would watch Harry Potter, all the chapters. Usually I do this during winter break, holidays, because it also gives a bit of magic. I would try to calm myself down and then journal my emotions. But definitely not talking, which is weird, because I like to talk. But when it comes to burnout, I think it would be healthier for me if I keep it to myself and leave it to my journal rather than venting it to another person.
I'm usually very composed, but if you see slices of anger starting to pop out, you know that's the limit of it.
That's why when I was in therapy, my therapist told me you have to release your emotions. I mean, it's so simple, it's so evident, that's what everyone knows. But in practical essence of it, it's difficult to do that. Like, how do you reveal your emotions? She would say, give yourself a cry. Go find the saddest movie, watch it, cry.
What if I'm watching the movie and I still can't cry, and then I would be even sadder with myself?
No, I know what kind of movie you need to watch. Just show her the pet dying in the movie and she'll be crying. How do you see the phrase release your emotions? Because some people also say they need to scream.
Scream.
Yeah.
Maybe I should try that. I don't know.
I think I'm a people pleaser, and I would think, oh my God, I scream loud, and then people would start questioning, or people would think, oh, what's happening? So I kind of worry about others.
No, I don't think screaming would do it for me. Just having adventures where I put myself in different routines. So during breaks, I would either go for scuba diving or surfing, like this winter break. Putting myself in those foreign, unfamiliar situations kind of wakes up my system. Yeah. It allows me to channel my energy towards something else, and it helps.
Would you do something like adrenaline junkie?
Maybe.
How different we are.
Maybe.
Because that would give me more anxiety.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. What would you do then?
Just go for these trips, to be honest, to book unexpected things. I saw a funny joke, and it says, of all hobbies, you're choosing a hobby that could kill you if you made a mistake.
If you're a therapist and you're watching that, what do you think it says about us? Leave a comment. Okay, interesting.
Do you think culturally it affects how much emotions we portray? In some cultures, it's more okay to show and to express your feelings. And then in some cultures, it's less so.
Yeah. So I was brought up in the culture where showing emotions is equivalent to being weak. Luckily, I had family that was not having this kind of mentality, and they were opposite way. Growing up in this kind of environment helped me realize that no, I actually should talk about my emotions. You know what I'm thinking about right now? You've said that, and I'm thinking like, what are then the countries that have this mentality of talking about their emotions? And then it hit me that what if it's just now very popular to talk about feelings, boundaries, what's healthy, what's not healthy? I think it is actually getting in a good direction that now a lot of young people who have their own kids, these are different kids. You clearly see that. Let's say when I was growing up, we would never have a drama solving situation in public. We would go home and then we would talk out. Right now, with all of those terms, and definitely the trend for going to therapy and talk about that, it's getting more and more popular. Do you think it's because of this being popular, people started talking about their feelings, or it's just that there are actually different countries with different stereotypes?
I think definitely there is a trend, and once things are more popular on social media, then everyone would follow. But the thing is, the pendulum swings. So right now it's trendy to talk about your feelings, but one day it might not be, and who knows what would happen, honestly. This brings us to the end of Unmarked, and we will see you in our homework section.
This is Unmarked.
Welcome back to the homework section. We would recommend you something to read, something to watch, and something to listen to. And we wait for your replies either in our social media, Instagram or TikTok, or in comment section in YouTube or Spotify. Carol, what do you have for today?
Okay, to watch, this video actually popped up yesterday night. It's an old video, but it's still valid. It's about the 3 signs of clinical burnout.
Oh.
And it's recorded by an actual cognitive scientist. You can just watch it, and then it should give you a better idea if you're just stressed or if you're actually burnt out.
Right. Okay. That sounds good. Something to listen to. I've picked this song that actually represents the feeling when you have too much going on your plate and you have to slow down. So this is the song called Vienna by Billy Joel. This song clearly shows that we are all in a constant rush, having to figure out things, but actually it's not needed. So slow down, you crazy child, and just enjoy. And if you need to disappear, you're allowed to do so.
Okay, I'll disappear later.
No, not from me, of course.
I have something to read. No, actually, I'd like to, Unica. So,
Wait.
we're already stressed enough already. So, the something to read would be to reach out to your coffee table, grab a book that you've been wanting to finish, and finish that book. No more homework when we're burnout.
It's funny because I literally have 2 books that I started but I didn't finish. One of them is here, the other one is there. So good advice, Miss Carol. Thank you very much. It was our 5th episode of Unmarked. That was Nika and
Carol.
this is
Unmarked.